feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous and subscribers, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully today we're going to focus on a World at War tarot reading, was basically kind of talks about and discuss World War III. Now, freehand, just so you guys are all aware, this video will be timestamped in the description below. So I know this video might be a little longer than you would have wanted for a video. So please go to the description and just click on questions or a section that you would like to view in this channel and video. So without further ado, I do want to say that a lot of this video question will be from the subscribers. So these are submitted questions from subscribers. A lot of them have been mine, but I'm hoping that other people will join in, hopefully, for this live and will ask questions. I will probably make a part 2 of World War III probably next week if you guys still have more questions that we have to go over. This is going to be a hybrid YouTube video. I've never done this before, but I'm thinking about including a dream, a vision that I had of mine, along with a little bit of channeling, and of course, as well, a tarot reading. So it will be very short. It won't be long. I already did some of the channeling already, so I'm going to read that to you, along with a vision that I have or ask the tarot card if it's appropriate for today's video. But other than that, let's get into it. We have a big video today, so if you have questions, get them set up and ready, and you can ask them in the live chat, okay? Without further ado, let's just jump right into this, okay? Let me just put on some quick disclaimers. This video is being live streamed on February 2nd, 24th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's some quick disclaimers on your screen. Please keep in mind this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. I am not a part of any type of war. I'm not endorsing a war or any of that type. So yeah, anyway. All right, let's begin. Let's see. So let's start off with a little bit of the channeling. Now, some of the channeling that I had was a little wonky. It's a little odd, but I'm just gonna say it to you anyway. I'll try to figure out what it means along the way to kind of give you a little bit of an understanding of what it means. Then we'll jump into the tarot portion of today's video. Okay, so it's just one page, so not long, so you don't have to worry. The first thing I got a while back was the last speech of Queen Elizabeth. So if you're not familiar with her, she is the Queen of England. So let me just pull that picture up for you as well. So we have Queen Elizabeth on the left side there in white. She's Queen Elizabeth, or King Charles, which will be the one that would take after Queen if she dies. So we have here, I heard, there's a one scenario, okay? I'm not saying that's going to happen, okay? It's one multiverse possibility, right? The Queen will probably end up giving World War III speech to the nation, preparing the nation mentally for war, and that will end up being one of her last speeches before she passes away. Yeah, basically her signifying her death will signify when she became queen. She entered in right around the time World War II ended, and so when she leaves Earth, she would leave when World War III started. So basically meaning that it was a very significant portion of that time period. So that's what I first got here. We have here as well, the United States will experience a political divide and because of Trump. People would be divided on the idea of war within the United States. So that could be very well be referring to revolution potentially within the United States itself, or war in general. Should we take part? Is that our problem, right? The idea of neutrality here. The next thing we have here as well, revolution around the world will break out. A man will come down. Now, this is a little odd. It's kind of more of a religious prophecy. I was not expecting this, but nonetheless, I'm going to say it anyway. So do not get mad. I'm just telling you what I read. I'm not putting my political opinion out there. Okay, we have here, a man will come down claiming he is God, but that do not trust him as you are God yourself. So basically what it means here is that you have all the abilities that this individual has. You just need to tap into it. So it's basically saying it's kind of like a calm artist, basically. We have here as well, Project Bluebeam will be underway to fake a war, one that never ever happened. So basically, what it's saying here is that there's going to be some sort of like it could be CGI. I don't know. I really don't know what Project Bluebeam is. I just heard people say it, and it came through in the challenge as well that potentially people might fake wars, which potentially could mean as well to allow people to have an excuse to go to war with a country by fabricating information or things like that. Another thing we have here as well, a time has come for a new world order. It is, and I quote, it says, it is I who would restore order. It is you who will restore it. I don't know what that means here. I'm going to repeat it one more time for you. Okay. A time has come for a new world order. It is I who will restore it. It is you who will restore it. So basically what it's saying is I who will restore the world order, and it's you who will restore it. I don't know what that means. So if you know what it means, let me know. We have here as well rabbit hopping across land to land. Don't know what that means. Could be meaning hypothetically, it could mean metaphorically, where countries jump from one country to the next, and maybe many countries are invaded. That's what this could mean. Or trying to focus on World War III and what possibility could happen. And then the last one, Mission Impossible would be granted, but things will break loose. So Mission Impossible, what I see here, when I heard that Mission Impossible, the first thing I thought was something that we never knew existed. So it could be an animal, for example, because it said here Mission Impossible would be allowed to be open or attempted. And Mission Impossible, what I saw there was a gate and an open, but I don't know what was inside it. So it was basically something will break loose. So potentially it could be an animal and it goes haywire, or it could even be that they've been able to train something that was not supposed to ever exist. And everything break loose. I don't know what that means. So that's what I got for in terms of challenge, right? And now let's get on to the tower part of today's video. So if you got your questions, get them ready. All right, everything was timestamped in the description below if you just jumped in on today's video. All right, so the first question that we have here, will Queen Elizabeth or King Charles make a speech preparing the nation for World War III? I think it would be very interesting to really talk about this specific question, particularly because it would be a very key marker and us trying to figure out, okay, is World War III happening or not, right? I'm not saying it does, because when I did a reading on Ukraine, it kind of said no to World War III, or at least Ukraine causing World War III. So something else could potentially trigger it, but it won't be Ukraine. So this could very well change as the situation has actually manifested. So things can change now. All right, so Spirit Angels tell me, will Queen Elizabeth or King Charles make a speech preparing the nation, United Kingdom, for war? Will Queen Elizabeth or King Charles prepare England or Britain for war? World War III. Will they make a speech? Will Queen Elizabeth make a speech preparing the nation for World War III? Just a yes or no. Got a yes or no? Okay. It seems to be following everything I said earlier with the channeling, so let's just get on with it. We have the Magician. The Magician is kind of reversed. This is not a good time. This is not the way that she wanted to go. Right? She did not want the United Nation, well, not excuse me, I keep saying that, United Kingdom to go to war. Right? So that's not something that she wanted. We have here as well, we have the Hanged Man reversed. And it's diplomacy. And what he's kind of referring to me is that this is the speech that she regretted, and dreaded so much so that she never wanted to ever say that speech. And it's normally a time where, last time a king or a queen had ever did a speech was, I think, with King George, her father. And we have here as well, we have the Knight of Wands, and that's reversed. And the Knight of Wands kind of tells me is that she will live a little bit after the speech as well, but it's crossed by the king. King Cut, and that's kind of King Charles here. It's the emotional aspect. It's the emotion of the nation, and I feel like she's gonna kind of show her true color, like her real emotion, and people are gonna actually connect with her on a level that they never connected before. They're gonna understand that she's more pure than we originally thought. So maybe all judgment that we made about her will kind of dissipate because we kind of get to see how emotional, how much she really loved the nation. On the left side here, we have Sword. She's gonna try to tell the nation that they're looking up and that there's always hope for the future, and that she has experience in this. That even though she's gonna talk about that time when she became queen and the dark days that the United Kingdom faced against Germany in 1930, and she's gonna talk about those experiences and try to get people to understand that even when times are dark, even when times are tough, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like that's a very positive way of messaging. It's trying to bring a little bit of hope and morale to people, especially when things seem dark. Right. We have here as well on the right side here, that eventually, after she does this speech, she will end up passing away. Right. We have the card. This card came up many times when we talked about her. This is the card that represented the Queen Elizabeth. And then that card kind of shows, and it could also be still very symbolic as well. It could also be hinting at World War III, in that this could be the speech that she makes. But I don't think King Charles will make the speech. I think Queen Elizabeth will. We have here as well as with the wand, 9 of Wands here, and the 9 of Wands kind of tells me prisoner of war. Excuse me, and I think because I'm very emotional right now because of everything that's going on, and I'm very empathic, so I am feeling the energy here. But it feels as if like everybody will be like on edge, and like you don't know what's really going to happen. That anything is a possibility, and you cannot rule that out. And so that's what I'm kind of seeing here. That that when this speech is made, it's when things are fragile. It's when things can easily dissipate. It's the word that I'll use. Right? I am kind of a little bit, so just kind of give me a little bit of room here. Some sites are saying that she is dead already, and they have not announced it. I don't know. Is she dead? My cards when I read on her, even a couple days ago when I did read on her, I kind of saw her as alive, but I didn't sense death yet. That's what you asked then. Okay, next question. Now, if you have questions, please put them in. If not, then we'll end the video early. Okay, anyway, besides the point, will this action in Russia and Ukraine be the start of World War III? Will Ukraine easily give up? So this is a question that was submitted by a subscriber on Facebook. So let's take a look. So Spirit Angel, tell me, will this action in Russia and Ukraine be the start of World War III? Now, I asked the question before, and I don't remember what I got, but let's see. Okay. We're going to use this as well. We're going to use this deck as well. 2020 Vision. Okay. This is going to be like one of major arcana, so we kind of have a little bit more information. It's Ukraine, the attack on Ukraine by Russia. Will it be the start of World War III? Is this the thing that starts World War III? One more. Will it start World War III? Well, has it started World War III? That's the question that we should be asking. Has it started World War III? This is a very poor showing today, so I'm not sure exactly how many questions we're going to get today, but we'll see. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so the major arcana that we have here. Okay. All right, exactly what we thought. All right, so I'm going to have to kind of speed up my channel, trying to help you guys kind of get to this point. We're going to talk about this in a moment. Okay. I'm going to have to talk about this in a moment, what is going on here. All right, so we have here as well as we have we're asking now is, will this action in Russia and Ukraine be the start of World War III? Right? Under here, we have the left side, we have the hangman reverse. It kind of tells me you're hanging somebody upside down. You take a toddler, you turn them upside down, and you shake them a bit. Everything's going to fall out of their pockets. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that something's being chucked, something shaken. Hi, baby cake. We have here in the middle side here, we have the Nine of Swords here. And the Nine of Swords is very interesting because it kind of talked about destruction, upheaval, right? We talked about shaking earlier, and the shaking card kind of tells me this is the bombing that's going on in Ukraine currently, right? The bombing is being crossed by the moon, and it happened normally that night. I can't confirm that. I had not been paying attention to the news purposely, so I kind of can't feed the energy. But we have the moon card here, and the moon card kind of symbolizes upheaval. And if you look here, actually, you see things flying off the moon, right? Kind of talking about like the rockets being hit off and into the ground of Ukraine. That's what I'm seeing here, right? Now, it's not answering my question. Are we going? Is this World War III? But we do have here the Three of Swords here. I think there are three requirements that will put us in the case of World War III. So the next one could very well be Taiwan. And then the other one is going to be kind of mysterious. It could be like North Korea and South Korea. It could be very well like that. It could be those three things trigger World War III, right? We also have here as well, we have the Pentacles, right? We have the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles kind of talk about this is not the plan. The plan is not for World War III. However, the plan is just to take over a nation. However, if they keep doing it, eventually it's going to be pushing it to the point where people are going to be like, enough is enough. We're making third world countries out of countries who weren't third world countries in the first place. Right? That's what I'm seeing here. The bottom of the deck here, we have the Page of Cups. This is interesting because there's no boat in the background, right? It's just kind of wavy. It's emotional time period, right? We have the guy looking at the fish, and what it kind of tells me that the guy's a little bit of a fool, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. I feel like it's going to end up drying up. So I think the idea of World War III is still very permeating, but I feel like the way that we would normally think of World War III wouldn't be the way that it would normally happen. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what I'm seeing in the cards here. I don't see energy for World War III, at least not yet. I still don't get it. I still don't see it. Other people are saying it, but necessarily I don't see it in the cards right now. Now, however, for major arcanas here, the card that we have, because we're asking for clarifiers, will the action in Ukraine and Russia signify the start of World War III? And the first card that came up was Black Panther, and it talks about strength. And that's a very interesting one, because the reason why this is very interesting is the fact that the strength card talks about yes. So we're very likely or not that World War III could happen. The strength is there, the energy is there. It can happen. That's not implausible at this point, right? The next one card that came is Temperance. Balance, right? Blue and darkness. A little glow in a time of darkness. There's something glowing here. And the thing that's glowing is the fifth dimension. Right? So that's a very positive thing. So what is kind of talking to me here is that there are many possibilities, many universes where this stuff is going on currently, right? But we could be in one of those universes where we experience a positive outcome than a negative one. I don't necessarily see World War III, at least not yet, but the energy is there. The energy is strong. It has the strength to do it. If you pay attention, you manifest World War III, it will happen. However, I don't see the manifestation is not strong enough for World War III, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. I don't see Ukraine as a part of World War III. I kind of see that as like a little mini battle to reform the USSR. That's the energy that I get there, but I don't necessarily get it the one that triggers World War III. So no, it does not trigger World War III at the moment, unless Ukraine joins NATO or the United Nations. Then it triggers World War III. So that's what I'm seeing here. The reason why I'm saying that I have to kind of speed up my channel, because my channel, believe it or not, I'm already on pace, but I guess I'm not fast enough on pace to kind of talk about how ascension and stuff like that works. And I'm ready talking about the grandmother grandson paradox and how that plays a role in our ascension process. And so I guess I'm gonna have to speed up and start talking about dinosaurs and stuff like that. Actually, believe it or not, I found out about dinosaurs that the reason why my spirit guides wanted me to focus on them was so that I can get familiar with the energy, so that I could talk about how Earth was created and the universe itself, and kind of give you the timeline and the historical precedent of what really happened by using intuition, tarot, and a little bit of channeling. So we'll talk about that in another video, but it does feel like that does play here a role here. And it does feel like it plays a role in World War III as well. If it was to occur, it plays a role here as well. But I'm also sensing as well, I just got to hit with information that potentially the reason why the fifth dimension card comes up, because the galaxy, it might be affecting the galaxy if there was to be a world war. Potentially we could end up having extraterrestrials come to Earth, and that's going to be an issue too. So there's that. I am seeing that there is a possibility for many things to occur, because there is significance that if you wipe out one, you're going to wipe us all out. Because the radiation is so strong, it could very well wipe out every other living civilization besides Earth. Oh, Charlene, we don't answer any question that's not related to World War III. I hope that doesn't like bother you, but we're not answering anything that's a little bit about makeup artists and stuff like that. That would be a great question that you could submit about mystery. We can do that on a mystery video, but not this video, because I don't think people want to know about makeup and World War III. Okay, so question that we're going to ask now: will Ukraine easily give up? That's the question that we should really be asking. Will Ukraine give up easily? With the invasion in Ukraine, will the U.S. give up easily? Excuse me, I just asked that wrong. With the invasion in Ukraine, will Ukraine give up easily? Yes, keep it on topic, just because I can't edit it out right now because it's too much work. So I'm just going to try to keep everything in the same topic. But yes, I will definitely ask that. Just submit the question privately and I'll do a video on it. So Spirit Scenes will tell me, will Ukraine easily give up? This card keeps showing up when I talk about Ukraine and World War III. Oh, is that a yes or no? Is that a yes or no? Is that a yes or no? Kind of too many, but I guess we'll keep it. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm getting here. We have the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands are in the middle. That's the card that represents Ukraine, right? With prisoner of war. On the left side here, we have Temple. That's the first card that came out. The Temple card reverse kind of signifies to me no, but also signifies yes. I feel like in this case, so right now, Ukraine is like, the attack on Ukraine is kind of like the testing waters. You know, like back then in 1930, when Hitler went to invade Ukraine, when Hitler went to go invade Czechoslovakia, Austria, back in 1930, those were testing the waters, seeing how far they can go before they cross the line with Poland. So kind of the same thing. Ukraine is that same scenario where Russia is testing the waters. They're going to invade other nations, but this is just a test on the ground. They're testing it. On the left side here, the right side here, we have the Ten of Cups reverse. I feel like Ukraine is going to give up, but I also feel like the people there are going to give up, but also not give up in a way. Like there's going to be some people who are just going to willingly submit to Russia, whereas others who are going to fight, so rebels. So I do see that here. I'm also seeing as well that many nations don't want Ukraine to give up, because part of that is they fear Russia, Ukrainian border now becoming Russian border, which means that they are now on the border of Russia, right? Hi, Lisa. Thank you for tuning in. So we have here as well as we have the Fool card, and it kind of tells me if they give up easily, they're kind of like almost making themselves look like a fool, like they are weak and that they're ineffective. So no, I think personally what the cards are saying that no, they should not give up. Doesn't mean that that signifies their action, but it does feel like the cards are saying no, they should not give up because there's a lot more hope, right? I do feel like they have a plan up their sleeve though. On the right side here, we have the Three of Pentacles here. And I feel like Russia's invading Ukraine for financial stability. And the reason why they're invading Ukraine, because there's something in Ukraine, I don't know what it is, but there's something in Ukraine and maybe resources that they're looking for that will stabilize the entire Russian region, nation, so that if sanctions were to be placed on them, Russia will stabilize their economy and Russia will basically no longer be infected by many countries putting sanctions and sanctions. Oh my god. Almost they put in like economic pressure on Russia, and it feels like in some way or some form that Russia knows this, that maybe there's oil there or something like that that will keep the economy afloat, that will no longer sink. It was basically mean that if Russia gets a hold of Ukraine, it could very well mean that they could be starting to attack other nations, that they now have oil and stuff like that that will propel war even further. Now in the middle card here as well, we have death. And like that card kind of talks about here is, will they give up? And that's the challenge, is that how many more people do they want people to die in Ukraine? Right? So they're kind of like a moral perspective here. It's kind of referring to now is, do we want more people to die because of Russia's aggressiveness? Do I want to let my people die because of Russia? Right? We also have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the 9 swords here. The 9 of swords here are very interesting because the 9 of swords here also is another challenge. These are all challenges, by the way. And it kind of signifies upset, depression. But I also feel like people are manifesting this to occur. Like, which is a matter of when rather than if. Right? We also have here the Hermit card of birds. And this kind of signifies to me, it signifies unpredictability. We don't know what they're going to do. And their decision is not made up, meaning that they could give up if they wanted to. The basically their divine counterpart, their divine time is anything. Anything is open doors. Ukraine has the ability to manifest itself into anything and anything. Basically, meaning that it could become part of Russia. It could be, it can stay with Ukraine. It could become a part of a commonwealth, if anything. But Ukraine's story is not written, which means that Ukraine can write their own story. The question is, will they? Right? And it also has, well, here, another thing is economic hardship. People leaving, people injured, people hurt. And that's another challenge, as well as health, economy, food. These are all things that will make people submissive to the dominant power. Right? And the card here as well, we have the star card. If anything, it feels like some people will just say, F it, I'm a Russian now, basically. That's what it kind of feels like. It feels like they're just giving up on their identity. They give up on their nationality. They give up on just life, really. But the United States is going to treat this very similar to a Cold War, at least in the first half. And it's going to try to fund Ukraine and try to keep Ukraine afloat the same way that they kind of did with the Berlin Wall, the West, and trying to keep East Germany alive and try to keep it like going, right? That's kind of what it feels like to me. It feels like that is what's happening in Ukraine right now. Could we transport ourselves onto another timeline if we meditate, etc.? I heard jump into a parallel timeline. I want to be in a timeline where Putin turns back before invading Ukraine. Yes, they call it reality shifting. I reality shifted many times. However, like I told you early in the video, I just told you that many people in the multiverse are experiencing the same thing like going on right now. So basically meaning you could accidentally enter a timeline where it's worse. So just make sure you know exactly where you're heading. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you manifest it. Make sure you did the right thing. Make sure you know where you're going. So yes, you could timeline shift to another universe where Putin back down, but you're more likely than not you're going to enter a timeline where Putin might be invading more than one country, might be doing better, where might be doing worse. We don't know exactly where you're going to land, so just make sure you don't think negatively, think positive, and hopefully you end up in a positive reality. Regardless, something else is going to have to replace you here. So even if you change shift timeline, someone else is going to have to take your place. So another version of you will have to take over. So just keep that in mind as well. So there will always be a part of you that will always be here. It's just maybe not your consciousness in this one, but consciousness in another one will be here. Okay, so the question that we're going to ask now is, should I talk about a dream that I had when I was 8 years old, 2008? So I had this dream. I told you guys briefly that I was going to eventually do a video on this, but I was not expecting to do a video within this video. I was expecting to kind of do it within the next year or so, to kind of talk about how I became a psychic. This was one of those things that how I became a psychic. But this dream is a little bit on par with what's happening in the world today. And so I'm going to ask the card if it's appropriate to tell you what I saw when I was 8. And I just don't want you to be freaked out. All right? Let's see. Let's see what the cards have to say. Spirit Angels will tell me. Should I tell my viewers about the dream that I had in 2008? My encounter and seeing the world. Okay, I have a yes. It's related to the video anyway, so yes. All right. Do not get freaked out, okay? Like I said, this is a hybrid video where I kind of talk about my dream. I kind of talk about my vision, my channeling, and a little bit of tarot as well. So this will give you some time to be able to formulate questions inside your head, so we can add and keep the video a little bit longer if you would like. All right, so let's talk about this, for example. Now, a lot of you guys may have just come on recently, so I'm just going to give you a little background knowledge. Here is currently, as of now, the current assault on Ukraine. So if you kind of see how much they invaded, they're almost completely halfway to the capital. So you can kind of see that little depiction there. You guys may have remembered these 2 videos that I did, Greek God, Zeus, Matches, Singing Bowl channeling. I'll put those videos in the description below, and be aware of the Black Dragon. Those 2, actually, believe it or not, the Black Dragon, I was talking about it, and I realized in that little excerpt here, part of that video, I talked about a Black Dragon. I don't know what it was. Something triggered it. And I was doing the channeling, and all of a sudden I saw like this big black beast, and it was fog. So a volcanic eruption ruptured, and the fog came up, and all of a sudden I saw this big black dragon fly out of the volcano. It could be symbolic. And then I'm talking to my therapist about it before I did this video, and all of a sudden I get this post on Facebook, and apparently one of the I think operations for like one of the troops, I don't know what country it is. I think it believed in like the Ukrainian side, could be American side. It's actually known as the Dragons. So I'm wondering if that maybe has some sort of symbolic that my video may be tied into one of those operation troops known as the Dragons. So there's a little fun fact there. Now this guy here, Zeus, this is a part of the dream. So I'm gonna talk about that in a moment. So basically, what ended up happening in the dream here was that I closed my eyes. I was about 8 years old. So if you know about my age now, I'm about 21 years old. So I'm quite young. And so I remember when I was being 8, Obama had just been elected president of the United States. So it's about around November of 2008. And he was not inaugurated yet. So Biden was not president. It was George Bush. And so what I remember was closing my eyes. I remember kind of seeing the grassy land. So this is what land would look like, right? The grass, right? And I remember seeing right behind me, and I never told anybody this. I told a couple subscribers of mine. So if you remember, this is the one. Anyway, besides the point, I remember right behind me there was a White House, right? A big White House. It kind of looks like something you would normally see in like San Francisco, but all those houses would be bunched together. But in this one, it's kind of similar more to the Bronx. We have a little bit of front lawn, and you have a backyard, and you have the house right in the middle with a little side of grass on both sides, separating the house in between. And all of a sudden, I remember standing outside. I was wearing a blue teal shirt, blue jeans, and I think like basic level like shoes, like kind of maybe like Skechers or Vans, right? And you know, like when you're in a dream and you're not allowed to see what you look like or what your skin color looks like or anything, but you know it's you because you feel like the energy is you. You know you're older, you're taller, but your face is invisible because they didn't want to show you what your face will look like during that time. Because if you saw your face, you won't know what time period that dream would have took place. So right in front of me, there was this guy, right? And he was naked. He was practically naked, right? Not 100% naked. He was wearing like a white robe, like a white, almost like something you would throw on your bed sheets, kind of like that. He was wearing white, and he had like a very well done braided gold belt, so to speak. And it would just hang down. You tie a knot and it hangs down. And he was wearing like these really nice crisscross Egyptian shoes. So you know how the Egyptian they would have like that crisscross shoes from Egypt? He was wearing that, but it had like the flat bottoms on the bottom of it. And he had like pure white hair and a white beard. And his eyes were fiery red. His skin was gold bronze. And I was looking at this guy, I was like, who is this guy? But for a very long time, I couldn't figure this out. Couldn't figure out who he was, the connection with this guy. Couldn't figure it out. Behind him, right? I saw behind him. Now, do not get scared. There was destruction everywhere. The sky was basically dark, foggy, like nothing was alive for miles. But there was destruction. Houses burned down to the bottom. Like there was no residue left, but just like coal, everything coal. And the ground there was burnt and black. Everything was dead, except where I was. Right, there was a pavement. We were in a suburban area, and I was standing in front of the house. I think it was a tiny home. Actually, now I think about it, but it was on the pavement. The guy was standing on the driveway, and behind me, my house was in perfect condition, with perfectly green grass, but everything around us for miles was dead. And when I saw that dream, I told my parents about a nuclear war, a nuclear attack. And the reason why I never covered it on this video was because I was afraid it would scare a lot of you guys. Because when I talk about stuff like this, when I talk about dreams like this, a lot of you guys get freaked out or get scared. And so I kind of bottled it up and never spoke about it on my channel because of fear that you guys would reject what I saw. So I never really covered it. But I think now it's appropriate to cover something like that. And so I never wore that combination of outfit. I never wore the blue teal shirt with the blue jeans, right? I refused to wear jeans because I believed when I was younger that when I wore that specific outfit, bad things would happen, right? So when I was traveling to Italy in 2020, right, I packed away jeans and I packed away a teal shirt, right? But never in my head I will wear the combination until I was in Florence, Italy, right? And I was in Florence, Italy, February 2020, right? So this was like 2 years ago in February. And I wore the combination of the teal shirt and the blue jeans. But I had that moment where I remembered it. But I was like in that moment where I just happened. And all of a sudden I had a flashback of that outfit that I was wearing back in that dream when I was 8. And all of a sudden, I knew that when I would put that outfit on, stuff was going to happen. And ever since then, a couple of weeks later, Italy went on lockdown on March 6th, and everything time rolled here from there. Everything got worse and worse and worse since I wore that outfit. I never wore the outfit again, but when I did, that was a very significant signifier about what happened and the combination of clothes that I wore that I never wore that again. But it was very significant because it signified a new era, a new time period in which we live in. So that is my dream. So yeah, that's my dream. A nuclear fallout. Now there was another dream where I had the White House get attacked by nuclear capabilities, but we'll have to explore that a little bit more in another video. Anyway, let's jump back in. Biden said U.S. troops would not fight in Ukraine. Will this be true? Let's take a look. If you have questions, put them in the live chat. Biden said the United States troops will not fight in Ukraine. Will this be true? Yes or no? Okay. Biden doesn't want people to die. That's self-explanatory. Biden is like one of those empathetic people who just don't want people to die, right? We have here as well, we have the 1, 2, 3, the 5 of Cups reverse. And the 5 of Cups reverse talks about like funeral. He kind of knows what it's like to lose someone who's very important for you. So Biden is not one of those type of guys that I see here who's going to make that rash decision and just put people's lives at stake, right? Because of man playing with firecrackers, basically. And the cross by the Hermit is unknown. The unknown, but also the predictability. The question is, as of right now, the decision is made. Biden emotionally does not want to send people to Ukraine. That's what I'm seeing here. But I'm not speaking on behalf of Biden. We're speaking for what I feel his energy is like, right? Biden does not want to send them. However, if he has to, he will have to send people. We have here death and destruction, right? War. Walking through turmoil. I think by the time Biden tells people that we're coming to help save Ukraine, it will be kind of too late because Ukraine and Russia will be united as one. I think it will be like one of those last decision moments, but it's just too late to make it different. In the end, only maybe 6 or 10 Americans will die, but not a lot of Americans. Now, it could change. Remember, war is a very hard thing to talk about because a lot of people's lives are at stake, right? And we have here as well, we have the Emperor's card. And the Emperor's card reverse, kind of symbolizes Russia. It really does. You talk about Russia, but Russia's reverse. It tells me here that right now, we're going to be promised peace. And Russia's going to say, no, I'm not going to attack anymore. I'm going to give you peace. So the world is going to jump in joy. The world is going to jump in happiness. Even though Ukraine is gone, people want to be happy. People want to be excited for what's to come. But what they don't know, that this happiness is temporary. And that this happiness, like I said before, Russia has the intent to reform the USSR. Right? And this happiness is temporary. This is an empty promise. Kind of similar to the way Hitler gave Europe empty promises and say, oh, I'm not going to attack anymore, and then goes ahead and attacks anyway. And so that's what I'm seeing here with Russia. That Russia's just going to give you temporary happiness. Just don't get caught up in it. Just enjoy the moments. Remember when I spoke to many of you guys and I told you, be grateful that we're in a pandemic. Because you have the opportunity, a luxury, to spend time with family members, your brothers, your fathers, your grandmother, your grandfather. You've been able to have the ability, for some of you guys, not all of us have been lucky, but a lot of us have been fortunate enough to be able to spend more quality time with those people that we care about. Because if the war has started, World War III has started, right when it was supposed to, back in 2020, you could have lost a lot of those people to war. But instead, you may have had the luxury of keeping them around, make good memories with them for the time that they were around. So, you have to look at the perspective here that maybe COVID in some way maybe has saved some of these lives or given them a little bit more life before World War III, if there was to cite. So there's a little bit of positive perspective there. Okay, so next question is, will they capture Ukraine's president and assassinate him? I think that's a very interesting question. Normally when a country is invaded, normally they capture the political leader and assassinate him, and then the country is taken over. I won't wear their outfits. I haven't worn them in a long time. I don't even fit in them. So, yes. All major arcana. I'm not sure what you mean, Diva. Will they capture Ukraine's president? Actually, hold on. I have a card for this. Let me use my deck. Okay. Spirit Angel Tommy. Will they capture Ukraine's president and assassinate him? Will they capture Ukraine's president and assassinate him? Okay. Okay. Any card that's reversed gets flipped. Yeah, you're going to get them. The first card we have here, let me put on this, maybe this will help. We have here the with trials, right? By court trial, execution, death penalty. I asked, will they assassinate him? They will, yeah. They will. However, even if they get rid of him, people in Ukraine, like I said, rebels will not concede. They will not give up, right? We have here Native Americans. It happened during a disease outbreak and also the mass genocide. So Ukraine is going to be a genocide, a modern day genocide in Europe. We have here a tight race. It's going to be very hard to tell who's going to win. Is it going to be democracy or NATO or Ukraine, or is it going to be Russia? Right? It's going to be an armed war. It's going to be a war that's going to be fought for a while. We have here as well protest or riot, social issue, COVID vaccine, Black Lives Matter. Will they capture Ukraine's president and assassinate him? Yes. But these are problems that lies afterwards. That people are still going to be rebelling. People are still going to try to do whatever they can to overthrow Russia and Ukraine. I don't think the war will be over just yet. I think it's just starting. Okay. Okay, how is China viewing Ukraine, and will it now invade Taiwan? Will Taiwanese invasion really be the start of World War III? Okay, let's see. Now I'm gonna do a channel in like a week or so, on World War III. Let's see if I can gather information on that. Okay. Conspiracy will tell me, how is China viewing the Ukraine invasion right now? How is China viewing it? Okay. And is China going to try to invade Taiwan? Give me one card. Is China going to try to invade Taiwan? Are they going to try to invade Taiwan? Remember, all this started because of Trump. Trump was just the cake, the icing, really. Will they invade Taiwan? Okay. And Conspiracy will tell me, will this start World War III? Will this start World War III? Okay. I guess we have an answer. All right, so the first question that we have here is we are asking, how is China viewing Ukraine? So let's take a focus on that. We have winner unknown. We don't know who's going to win yet. It's too early in the battle. Right? We have here military coup. That's reverse. Right? So we have electoral margin. The likelihood chance of Russia winning in most cases will be 60 to 39%. 39% will be the chances for Ukraine to win. 60 will be chances for Russia to win. And China knows that. But they're also keeping an eye on a military coup. They're a little bit worried about Russia because Russia and China had a very falling out between the two nations when it comes to ideology clashing. And so I would not be surprised if Russia and China are actually frenemies. They're like friends but enemies at the same time. So right now it does appear like China might make a move, but it makes a move against Russia. So it's probably more so protecting its borders on defense rather than on offense. We have here as well, we have strength and freedom, American Eagle. Right? We have the 120s here, but the 120s, that's where we are right now. We have strength and freedom. China knows that they have a lot of strength against Ukraine and a lot of strength against Russia. So they are not too worried, but they never know how much Russia infiltrated in their own government. So now let's get to the part where we're going to talk about this. Will China invade Taiwan? Now, if you guys don't know why China wants to invade Taiwan, back in 1940, Taiwan used to be their government, used to be the original government of China. However, during the 1930s, Mao Zedong, was the leader and the founder of the People's Republic of China, took over China and kicked Taiwan people out into a small island. And so China had always called their nation theirs, but Taiwan is actually the original founding, the original government of China. And so this is why this card comes up as the founding fathers, the sideways, right? Founding fathers in this case would be known as Taiwan, right? We also have here as well sideways, we have the Republicans hold. The Republicans, if anything, will support the attacking of Taiwan, right? And we have here the music industry, propaganda. And it's going to be a 50-50 Senate, what makes things 10 times worse because half the population is going to support the Taiwan invasion and half the other population of the United States is going to support against the Taiwan invasion. And what it feels like to me is the United States is not united, and this would be the first time in history where the United States would experience something it had never experienced before. It will experience a population, a group of people who no longer back the country in a time of war. They want to be back a president during wartime. That's a problem. Now, we're asking here, will it start World War III? Right? We're asking, will Taiwan start World War III? Okay. Okay, so I have to flip this over because this was reversed. So we have tight race, right? I feel like at this point in time, Taiwan will be kind of like in the mix of World War III. Like it'll be like one of those added things that will constantly be one of those conflicts, like Cold War type. We have your housing industry, 2008 recession, high housing prices, 1950 suburbs. Okay, so we talked about the housing market crash. In some way, in some form, this is related. This is related in some way. I don't know why. Maybe the people who are funding war also funding the collapse of the housing industry. That could be what this is. As well, we also have the 1980s to 1990s impeachment trial, Soviet Union versus USSA, technology boom, Southern strategy. So we have the 1980s here, and if you look here on the side here, we have the Soviet Union versus the United States. We talked about here, the revitalization of the Soviet Union by Vladimir Putin. And I feel like already that Vladimir Putin's main goal is to revitalize the Soviet Union back to its original form. And so I would not be surprised if Taiwan and China and Russia accidentally teamed up, kind of the way Hitler and Stalin teamed up back in 1930. I would not be surprised if they teamed up, but it will definitely be a Cold War, without a doubt. Now, it's also being challenged by nuclear war, and it also be challenged by historical leaders. We're asking, will Taiwan start World War III? Yes, it will. Potentially, it has the possibility. It will become very similar to the way Cuba was in 1960 with the armistice, where we had both blocking the arcade of Cuba trying to send off missiles to hit United States in 1960. This was during the time of JFK, known as the Cuban Missile Crisis. And so it does feel like in some way it will take place in Taiwan this time. It'll be missile crisis or something related to that in Taiwan. So I would not be surprised if maybe the main reason why China wants Taiwan is to have a better launching pad to shoot missiles at United States. It could be very well similar to that. We also have your historical leaders. So what the card tells me already that based on historical precedents and historical history, it most likely will cause World War III simply because Taiwan is an ally of the United States and is recognized and is backed by the United States. So it would be most likely it could trigger it. Again, it depends on the United States and Biden. Biden and the United States has so many problems in the U.S. and it's all because of Biden. And Putin did a really good job at making sure the country was divided. He really did. And honestly, the worrisome here is, did he succeed? That's the question that we should all be asking. Okay. The next question here is, With all these attacks going on in Ukraine and Taiwan, will biological and nuclear weapons be used? Let's take a look. Will what biological and nuclear weapons be used for everything that's going on? Because the reason why we're asking the question, if you have not been paying attention, Putin said if anybody gets in his way and stops him from invading Ukraine, he will nuke the hell out of them. Okay? That's what he said. He will nuke you. He will literally nuke you. Okay, so Spirit Citizens will tell me. Well, these attacks that's going on in Ukraine and Taiwan, biological or nuclear weapon? Will it be biological or nuclear? Okay, well, that's not helpful. Will it be biological or nuclear? Okay, I'm not going to use this deck because it's too problematic. So we're just going to put this deck here when you use this deck. Spirit Citizens will tell me if it was to be nuclear, will it be nuclear or biological weapon? How big would these weapons be? Okay. Spirit Citizens will tell me, will they use biological or a nuclear weapon by any chance? I don't see a World War. We have a World War deck card in there, and I don't see the card come up at any point. So that's good. That's a good sign. Will they use nuclear or biological weapons, Spirit Angel? First and last? Okay. All right, so let's do these major arcana. Okay. Well, not very promising. I'll tell you that. The card that we have here is the end is here. Death. We also have here the world. Okay. We're asking, are they going to use biological and nuclear weapons? We have judgment card reversed. They're not going to use the moral judgment, so they don't care about what the moral right thing to do is. The moral right thing to do is not use nuclear. I'm also seeing fire here. Look at the hair. It looks like fire. Right? Flames. We have here, well, cups. It will trigger global warming. There's going to be massive tsunamis that if this were to happen. And then we have here as well, we have the Ace of Cups in its reverse. It's not biological. If anything, it would be nuclear. Yeah, it would be nuclear war. We have the death card here to end this near. And then we also have here the world. The world to be warming at a faster pace. Yeah, it will be nuclear. Hi, Sarah. How are you, love? Okay, did Putin plan this back when Trump was president? Maybe they planned to conquer democracy together. Well, let me just tell you something here. Trump is not that bright. He's like one of those dumb kids that you pick in class, stuff like that. I don't think Trump is really that bright. If he was, he'll be bright in some areas, but definitely not bright in something like this. He was definitely not bright enough to do something like that. He probably had a helper, but he was smart enough to have black magic. I do know that for sure. When I did a reading back a couple years ago, I did a video on it, which is, by the way, is on the channel. Black magic card came up. And the black magic card showed that Donald Trump used black magic to make his supporters love him and, adore him and appreciate him and stuff like that. I'm going to talk more about his subscribers and his people and his group and what happened to them, what made them become this. And I'll talk about it and why it's a spiritual war to begin with. Okay, let's talk about this. Did Putin plan this back when Trump was president? Or this was the plan? Was this plan made, the invasion of Ukraine, planned by Putin and Trump back in it has to do with a woman here. Remember when I talked to you guys about the woman who brings down the United States and the woman who days of the United States. I never did a video on that because of everybody didn't like the dark stuff. But I'm not saying I like dark stuff. I don't like dark stuff. But it just happened to be the time period that we're in. It's a lot harder to not talk about that stuff. But I'm seeing here that there was a woman involved here, the Queen of Wands. Here it said that they want to avoid a woman in office, potentially maybe the woman who's supposed to help the United States. It was supposed to be a way for them to get rid of the presidency. So maybe they were forming a way to try to abolish the Constitution and formulate their own form of government. We have here as well, we have the Tower card. It was not supposed to happen in the United States, at least not yet. It had the possibility of happening in 2024, and I'll talk more about that. We have here as well, we have the Page of Cups here. The goal was, it was a plan. It was a plan that they had a plan together, but it wasn't more so about conquering democracy. It was about reforming the United States in the image, kind of like a revenge, so to speak, a revenge against the United States for the way that the United States had treated Trump when it came to bankruptcies, and the way that the United States treated Russia back in 1991 with the fall of the Soviet Union. So it does feel like there is revenge here, a lot of Scorpion energy. That's what I'm seeing here. So yeah, it was planned, but it was not planned to be a democracy takeover. It was just a plan to just have absolute power, so to speak, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. All right. I don't see any more questions here. So I'm going to end today's video off right here, leave it off just kind of on this note here. A little positive aspect here. I do want to give out a shout out to Linda for she's been having a lot of health problems. She overcame them, so congratulations. I'm glad you're doing well. That's a really positive news that we can all look forward to. Anyway, guys, I love you. Hope you have a very beautiful night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. If you want a part 2, just put it in the comment section below, and I will do a part 2. Other than that, I love you guys, and have a very beautiful night. Bye.